It's the final countdown now to the White House race. In less than 48 hours, the United States of America is set to elect a new president to the Oval Office. This final crucial lap will be very important. Remember, Republican nominee Donald Trump, Democrat nominee Kamala Harris ramping up campaigning with the swing states, because it's often the swing states can decide which way the election goes. Now, Kamala Harris launched a sharp attack at her rival candidate, claiming that his promises of an American dream are empty. Trump would bring America into recession. Trump, meanwhile, in his typical fashion and the manner in which he speaks, is pushing for "Make America Great Again" pitch, claiming that Kamala Harris and the current President Joe Biden they've already broken the American system, and only he, Donald Trump, can fix if he's elected again to the government. But there are 7 states that are key to winning this election: Arizona, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. Remember, in each of these states, it's going to be a neck-and-neck fight between Trump and Kamala Harris, and often can decide who eventually wins.
But I've come today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote, this election, most important election you've ever even thought about voting in, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals pouring into our country, and I will bring back the American dream.
Trying to kind of figure out what the stakes are. Just imagine the Oval Office, we've all seen it on TV, and just imagine on January 20th. Because if he is elected, if Donald Trump is elected, he's going to be sitting in that Oval Office stewing over his enemies list. Because he spends full time plotting revenge and retribution. Full time. The man is angry. Right? But you know what I'm talking about. So imagine on January 20th, it's either that, him plotting over his enemies list, or me working for you on my to-do list. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Because I like hard work.
Are we ready to make history? Are we ready to make history? Are we ready to change these 4 years? No. Are we ready to change the next 8 years? Because we're going to make sure we have Kamala Harris in office for 8 years.
In 2 days from now, America will elect its next president, its 47th president. And this race between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump is too close to call. It is a very tight race. No pollster has been able to tell definitively who is going to win the election. Now, this election is getting compared to the election in the 60s between JFK and his rival. This is a very, 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 very complicated race. Nobody knows which path will lead which candidate to the White House. And there are multiple paths that have been talked about, which could lead Vice President Kamala Harris to the White House or could lead President Trump to the White House again. Now, about 60 million people in America have already voted. You may wonder how it's possible, because the election is on Tuesday, November 5th. But America allows for people to vote early. It allows for people to go to an election center and cast their ballot. And it also allows people to request a ballot and have their votes mailed in to the election center, where they will be tallied and counted on election night.
Former United States Representative and Donald Trump's close aide Tulsi Gabbard also spoke exclusively to India Today's Rohit Sharma. Here's what she said.
Congressman, thank you so much for joining us and talking to us today.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, Congresswoman, you were a Democrat and you ran a presidential campaign in 2020, and now you have endorsed President Trump. What made you change your decision and becoming, endorsing President Trump, and what was the reason for you to do so?
Oh, first of all, I left the Democrat Party a few years ago because today's Democrat Party is controlled and led by this elitist cabal of warmongers who are undermining our freedom, fundamentally censoring free speech, undermining the rule of law and our democratic republic. There are many examples that I could give you. I wrote a book explaining in great detail why I left the Democrat Party. It's called For Love of Country, Leave the Democrat Party Behind. And in this election, the choice was very clear for me in why I endorsed President Trump over Vice President Kamala Harris. It is because of those fundamental rights and freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution and the words that our founders had for us in this country as Americans, our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Under Vice President Harris over these past 4 years, along with Joe Biden, they have undermined our freedom and continue to do so. They have weaponized government entities to go after their political opponents. I've personally experienced political retaliation by this administration, putting me on a domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies just one day after I did an interview criticizing Kamala Harris's record as vice president and talking to the American people about the dangerous consequences of a Kamala Harris presidency. They have ruined our economy, increased the cost of living. We're seeing increased crime, open borders, over tens of millions of illegal immigrants coming across our borders, many of them actually violent convicted criminals coming from other countries. And on a foreign policy front, they have embroiled us in multiple wars in different parts of the world and have pushed us to the brink of World War III and closer to nuclear war than we ever have been before. On every account, the choice is clear that President Trump in this election is our best hope as a country to get back on that path where we can look to a future of peace and freedom and prosperity for all Americans.
You know, you also mentioned about border. The border has been a big issue. I think immigration is dominating, you know, the election cycle this year. What would be President Trump's policy? I know he's talked about, you know, securing the border. There are a lot of Indian immigrants, you know, who obviously feel that, you know, nobody talks about their plight. And, you know, why should like an Indian immigrant voter vote for President Trump versus President Harris? Because President Harris, one of the things that's going for her is that she's half Indian. So, I mean, anything that you would like to say to immigrants who should vote for President Trump?
I would encourage Indian immigrants who are here in our country and contributing to our economy, starting businesses, innovating in technology, to not fall into the Kamala Harris trap of identity politics and vote based on ethnicity. I would encourage them to ask the Kamala Harris campaign or do their research. What has Kamala Harris, as someone whose mother immigrated from India, what has she done for Indian Americans today? What has she done for Indian immigrants here in our country? I know the short answer to that. The short answer to that is nothing. The same issues and challenges with green cards, with children, Indian immigrants who are here on green cards and who have kids who turn 18 and now are facing a situation where they don't have any access to legal status and an extremely broken legal immigration system. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have not done a single thing to address these very real and long-standing issues that the Indian American and Indian immigrant communities face here. President Trump has talked very openly about different ideas, such as, immigrants who come here and go to school should immediately be issued a green card when they graduate from university here, because it's in our best interest as a country to be able to retain the kind of talent and innovation and opportunity that many immigrants come here to seek, rather than providing people with skills and capabilities and then sending them back to their home country. President Trump has talked about recognizing the growth and the benefit that the United States and our economy gains from many immigrants from different parts of the world, but especially and including Indian immigrants. So I have no doubt that President Trump sees the opportunity here and will do all that he can in order to address these long-standing issues and fix what Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have broken